Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It is hot outside today. I'm going to be working in the barn, right? It's Friday afternoon. I'm pretty much done with work, but it's a good 105 degrees outside, somewhere around there. Not a cloud in the sky. It's just not a breeze to be found. So I'm going to be working in the barn a little bit. So I'm going to be just puttering around on this 2504. I've got it running pretty good. It's running. I've used it for a few things. I've used it to drag a box blade around to try to knock out some high spots in the field, but it's running well. But I've got a couple of things I need to work on. One's a safety issue, right? My my PTO shaft, that thing is always spinning. It's the adjustment. I don't know if it's the adjustment right here, or if I just have a bent locking bar right here. But in the locked forward position, ow, didn't hurt. I have too much play right there. And in the locked forward position, the PTO shaft still spins. That's dangerous. PTO shafts kill a lot of people every year. I got to fix that. The other one is a usability issue. That's my 3-point hitch here. It's fantastic, right? I mean, I've got some broken chains right there. That's no big deal. The problem though is the height. And I think I'm not the first person to have to try to deal with this, right? So let's get a measurement on here. Right now, from the ground, I'm at about 11.5 inches. So I did some research online, and it says that the maximum, how do they phrase that? The maximum low point above the ground for a Category 1 3-point hitch is about 8.5 inches. So I'm 4 inches high right there already. Now, to add insult to injury, I've got these links in here, right? The more I look at those links, the more I think they did that just to lower these 3-point arms down. If you look at this, they welded that. They tried to weld these links to these top arms on both sides. I'd take credit for that if that was me, but it wasn't me. And so I'm going to throw whoever did that right under the bus, because there's just no way that would work. There's the lines of force, the vector forces that are going through those plates they put on there. There's just no way, with the amount of leverage and torque that you're putting on those arms under their operation, that kind of a weld operation would work. So what I want to do is remove these plates. But if I do that and move this up to connect straight to there, which I've seen in the pictures online, well, that raises my arm here from 12 inches to, does it raise it all the way up to 24? I'd have to look. It raises it up quite a bit. Too far. You know, we're already out of spec. The equipment I have, most of my Category 1 pins, they're sitting right there at about 16 inches for my hookup height. And so on some stuff you want that to be able to go down lower than that for your usable heights, right? For, say, let's see, what equipment do I have? Oh, say my corrugator or something like that. I've got to go below that. That's why I got to get to that 8.5 inches. I've got to figure this out. And looks like somebody before me has tried to figure it out, and they weren't able to. So, well, let's take a look. So the shortest story is, 1, my PTO doesn't shut off. 2, my 3-point arms don't go down low enough. Let's get to work. I think my PTO is a combination of 2 things, right? 1, my adjustment link here is just adjusted too far, and 2, my locking pin here is bent and sloppy loose. Well, that went way easier than I anticipated. Huh. go. Now let's try to be a little scientific about this, right? So I'm going to record how many rotations I get out of this bad boy as we try to tighten it up. So we'll start with maybe 1.5. That's a fine thread. Yeah, let's start with, see if we can, well, let's see if we can get any to begin with. Ooh, nothing. Oh, all right. This is going way better than I anticipated. Look at that. I don't know why I just wrench around. There's half. I didn't think there's any way this was going to be this easy. There's one. There's 1.5. All right, how does that feel coming back? I still have positive engagement. Feels a little bit easier. I'm going to give it another turn and a half or so. There is basically one turn. Let's get it around another half. Straighten it out. See how that goes. That feels better. That really does, guys. I'm still locking into position up front. Okay, so we're in good shape there. I'm going to fire the tractor up. We're in the forward position where the PTO is not engaged. Let's see if the PTO shaft starts up when I start the tractor. I'm going to try to turn it off. Not quite. Closer, right? So locked on. When I go to shut it off, that's really close. Easy fix. So, aside from this being bent right here, it sure looks to me like the size of that hole compared to the size of this this 3/8 bolt is there's supposed to be a bushing in there, and so we're missing a bushing. I'll have to see what I can come up with as far as bushings go, and then I'll just straighten that out and see if that's enough. I'm not sure if I want to go ahead and straighten it out and reinforce it or not. It's 60 years old. It might be just fine if I just straighten it out and roll with it, especially if I put a bushing in there. I'll think about that. All right, it's getting warm. I just drilled out and ground off the corners off of just a regular nut to build my bushing here. And I'm going to slap this back in, and I'll bet you it's going to tighten it all up, and we're going to have a functional PTO lever. Now, I ground that bushing down to be a little bit proud of this tab here so that I could cinch the bolt down on the bushing, and the tab would still be able to rotate on the bushing itself. I did make sure that the bushing spins inside that tab as well. So yeah, there we go. So for being a really Western, you know, homemade tabby-do, there is some thought and some engineering behind it. In theory, not quite. It's not quite as free as I want it to be. I'll have to loosen that up a little and just kind of, there we go, work it in a little bit. So that's already way tighter than it used to be, and if I fire this tractor up, I fully anticipate that my PTO shaft is not, let's get a better view, is not going to be on. That's really close. I'm just going to adjust that turnbuckle a little bit more and we'll have it. Yeah, just a tiny bit more adjustment on that turnbuckle and I'll be happy with that. That thing's, it's functioning as it should. So I'm calling this a win. In a few minutes. We'll do that off camera.